One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Y'all, it's coming. Profit Podcasting is about to open again for enrollment, and I am so dang excited. Oh my gosh. If you've been wanting to learn how to start, launch, and market your podcast from me and all the things that I learn and I teach and I do every single week for this podcast, I would love to see you in the class. Go to profitpodcasting.com to learn more, and I cannot wait to see you in our private Facebook group for students only, where you can ask all the questions and we can talk about all the things for your podcast. So again, go to profitpodcasting.com to learn more. Okay, y'all, you know that I totally geek out on all things podcasting, right? I mean, duh. It's probably why you're listening to this, because you're like, okay, I'm going to listen to what this crazy chick has to say, because she literally cannot shut up about podcasting. Well, today, I feel like your view of me may change, or you may just think, oh my gosh, she's gone to a whole nother level, because I'm going into a deep dive on one of my favorite podcasts and what they did so incredibly well to launch and what has happened since then. So I'm giddy. I'm giddy to talk about all the things that we're going to talk about here today. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Profit Podcast, where we teach entrepreneurs how to start, launch, and market their podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Because if you've been thinking about creating a podcast for a while, well, I'm so glad you found this show. Think of this as the shortcut time-saving version of searching Google and YouTube for hours and hours trying to figure out the world of podcasting. Trust me, as a busy mama of 3, I get it. You don't have a lot of time to be spent or wasted, I should say, searching the web, trying to find all the right ideas and all the amazing things that are out there, and you just end up overwhelmed. Trust me, I've been there, done that, took home the souvenir. But this podcast is going to help you in practical ways because twice a week we'll be delivering episodes that are going to give you steps to help you create a podcast your audience can't wait to listen to. So let's get right to it, shall we? Okay, so like I said in the intro, I'm going to tell you all about my favorite podcast. I would love to tell you that I have other podcasts, but this one is just like a guilty pleasure, indulgent. I look forward to it every single week. So I'm obsessed with The Office. You've probably heard me talk about their podcast, and I'm going to go into lots and lots of detail because I am just so excited to be like in podcasting in this industry and to have watched the journey of what these ladies have done because it's super impressive, but it also goes to show you like the power of having a podcast. So let's like back up for a second because when The Office, if you don't know, I'm talking about the Office Ladies podcast, and it's Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey who are, they were some of the stars of the show, The Office. And my love for this show, it's kind of funny because when it was actually on air, like regularly on TV, I was in college. And at the time, I was not, I had lots of classes. I was very busy working on campus. I was a part of many organizations on campus, and I was a college student. I was going out with my friends and, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I just had a really, really weird schedule. So I didn't really afford like a set. This is before DVRs, guys. I was a college student with an oversized TV. It was like 13-inch TV that was like huge. It probably weighed like 75 pounds in my apartment. And I just remember I didn't watch anything regularly. I had I think that my TV might have had a DVD player, like, woo, stepping on up in this world, right? So I had a DVD player in my TV, and Netflix was, I remember watching, I had started watching Grey's Anatomy, but I missed the first few seasons. But in college, I was like, oh my gosh, I became obsessed with the show. So I like got my this is for, all you people that are my age, y'all remember this, Netflix. They sent DVDs to your house, to your apartment, wherever. And so that's how I caught up on Grey's Anatomy. But with The Office, I would always see it on TBS. It would come on, or TNT, whatever one of those like cable network shows that I got for having like over the air, a cable, like rabbit ears or whatever. And I remember I would catch little glimpses of The Office, and I would just be so lost. I would be so confused. I would usually see like Dwight, Rainn Wilson, like his character and he was just acting so obnoxious, so absurd. I didn't understand the storyline. I didn't get it. So it wasn't one of those things that I could just pick up on. So long story short, I know that was a very long, drawn out way of explaining how I became to know about this show. But the reason why I say that is because I was not a fan whenever it was actually live. Whenever they were going through it, I was obsessed with watching Friends, and I would just watch reruns of Friends and rom-coms, that were on rerun, and you catch Bridget Jones' Diary or something like that on TV. But this was, like I said, before DVRs, before Netflix was streaming, before any of that. So cut to, now I guess it was about 2 years ago, I saw The Office on Netflix, like today's modern version of Netflix. And my husband kept telling me, he was like, you need to watch it. It's really funny. There's some really quirky characters. And I was like, I just don't know. And he was like, well, you've watched Friends like 10,000 times. This is when Friends was still on Netflix. You just need to give it a try. I said, okay. So I guess I'll give it a try. I cannot even tell you, I've actually watched from episode 1, the pilot, to the very end. I think I've seen the entire series like 5 times now. I'm obsessed with the show. I absolutely love it. And so after the first time, I was like, I'm going to go see if these ladies are on Instagram. And I found Jenna Fisher, and then I've, come to see in real life that she's actually best friends with Angela Kinsey. I love John Krasinski, Rainn Wilson. Like, he is just such a character. So I started following all these people on Instagram, on social media. And then I started seeing Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey like hinting at something that they were working on a new project together. And I thought, well, that sounds cool. This was, I guess this would have been of summer of last year. They started teasing that they were working on something. And then I'm watching their Insta stories, and y'all have to go follow them on Instagram because they're so funny. Their stories are hilarious, and you have to go, I think it's Office Ladies Pod. I'll link to all of it in the show notes, but you have to go follow them. They are so funny in real life. And I found out Angela is actually from Texas. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I just relate to these ladies so much. Well, then I found out in September of last year that they were launching a podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I have been looking for, because I listen to so many motivational and inspirational and like just a lot of podcasts that make me think, which is good, right? Personal development. They make me they teach me things. They make me think about my business and my podcast and all the things that I'm doing. But this podcast is for pure enjoyment. That's why I was saying, like, it is a guilty pleasure, 100% indulgent. And I was totally blown away by what they did when they launched this podcast. So I want to talk about 3 important things that they did and how it worked out for them. So the first thing is, how did they launch this podcast? Well, like I said, they started teasing it out on social media. They would share pictures of them working together. And I think one time they shared a picture of them having headphones on, but they didn't say, oh, we're starting a podcast. It was kind of like just a teaser, like we're working on something. Like, this is behind the scenes. We're working on something. And with them being in Hollywood and like working in the film industry, because they've each been in some movies and they've been on TV, a podcast really wasn't the first thing. I was like, oh, maybe they're going to do like a show together, or maybe, they're doing, I just didn't really know. And then the more I could see that they would like tease out other ones, other pictures or little video clips, I saw, oh, they have microphones on boom arms in front of them. They're in a studio somewhere. They're recording something. And so I kind of put everything together. And then in September of last year, they put out the trailer, and everybody lost their mind. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about like the Office fanatics, the people, y'all. And I thought I was a fan of the show. I have seen some crazy bananas things that people have done. Like, they've shared people getting tattoos that say Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. If you're a fan of the show, you totally know what I'm talking about. I have found a lady that she does cross-stitching. And she has done, like, she is obsessed with The Office, and I will link to her Instagram account. She has some very inappropriate things on there too, like cuss words that she cross stitches. And it cracks me up. I've sent it to several of my friends that are just like, oh my gosh, this would be so funny to put in The Office, but it's very inappropriate if you have kids that can read because they're really funny, but very inappropriate. But she has so many great Office references. And I never would have found this person had it not been for this podcast, because she had sent them a gift. Anyway, like, I'm totally going off on a tangent, and I could tell you about all the things, all the reasons why I love The Office, but we don't have time for that today. I want to talk about what they did really well. So like I said, they put out their trailer in September, and it's funny because I remember taking a screenshot of like on iTunes on my computer. I pulled it up, I searched Office Ladies, and I was like, man, they already have 2,000 rating and reviews, and it's just the trailer. It wasn't even the official podcast. It was just the trailer episode. And what they did is they teased it out on Instagram that they were working on something, but they didn't actually announce it until 1 month before they launched. And the reason I know this is because I went back in my research for this episode and I saw that it was almost 1 month to the day that they launched. So it was September 16th, 2019, and they launched on October 15th, 2019. So it was 1 month. And what they did is they did an 18-second teaser trailer. And I should have listened to it because it was only 18 seconds, but it said something like, we've been working on something fun. It's coming and it's coming soon. And it was very short, 18 seconds. Like, that's crazy. That was the shortest trailer I'd ever seen. But it just like, I remember on that day, I could probably go back into my Instagram and actually post, like share with you. I shared it whenever I saw it because I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so amazing. I was so excited about it because I didn't really know what it meant. But I'm like, this is just like a side note. I'm a total behind the scenes nerd. I love reading like celebrity memoirs and memoirs of comedians. Like, I love knowing the backstory and everything. So for them to say like this was going to be a behind the scenes of the show The Office, I just remember totally geeking out and being really, really excited about it. So they did the 18-second trailer, which had like, hey, this is the behind the scenes. And then the next week, they put out a 3-minute official trailer. So that was really what solidified what was coming in the show. And you can go back and listen to these, but and this one was 3 minutes. And it was like, here's what you can expect. We have this guest coming on and we're going to go into a deep dive of every single episode. And they've had like their props manager and other people that are part of like the crew and the set and just all kinds of behind the scenes things. Like, it's true to what they're saying. It is literally behind the scenes of all the things that happen on the show. And I thought that was really cool. So they did an 18-second trailer 1 month before they launched, and then a 3-minute official trailer a week after that. So it's about 3 weeks out from them actually launching. And this is from the picture that I took, they had 2,117 ratings and reviews before they even launched. Guys, this is what I'm talking about when I say the power of getting a trailer episode out there, getting it out into the world so people can go and leave a rating and a review. And I know you're probably like, Crystal, I've been doing this for 2 or 3 years and I don't have that many ratings and reviews either, y'all. I definitely don't have that many, but I just want to tell you what is possible if you already do have a following, or even if you don't. How much power would there be if you launched your podcast and you already had, let's say, 5 or 10 reviews from your friends and your family and like the people that you know are going to support you? If you said, hey, would you mind going and leaving a review? I put this trailer out. It's just kind of social proof that people, if they stumble upon your podcast or they find you from your social media post or whatever, they're going to say, oh, look, it's already been rated and reviewed. I know y'all do this too. Like, we're not the only ones. You find a new restaurant and you immediately go to the Google reviews, or you go to Yelp, or you go to, all the other different places. And you're like, oh, do I really want to try this out? And you look at the ratings and reviews. It is how our consumer behavior works now. We are almost dependent on ratings and reviews. They are important. That's not what we're talking about today. Where I'm going to do another episode on ratings and reviews and how to get them and what to ask for. But I just wanted to include what this actually looks like. Like I said, I have a screenshot of this. I'm going to share it in the show notes. So that's the first thing, is how did they actually launch? They put out an 18-second trailer and then a 3-minute official trailer 3 weeks before they went live.
Being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
So they did say their launch date in one of those trailers. I don't know if they said it in both of them or one of them. Like I said, I should have went and listened to them, guys. It was 18 seconds and 3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go listen to them again, and then I'll put it in the show notes. That way, I'm going to link to everything so you can go find it. But here's what they did. So they launched on October 15th, 2020, and I found a New York Times article, because I told you I was going to geek out on all this stuff, right? I found a New York Times article, and I'm going to link to that in the show notes as well if you want to go check it out. But they had about 6,000 5-star reviews whenever they launched. And I know they have millions of fans. I get this. Like they ended the show so well. They have such a strong fan base that they could have 6,000 reviews, the day that it launched. But it's really important because I want to talk about how they are actually part of a network. Like they are actually getting paid to create this podcast content. It's not just, we're just 2 friends and we're going to go create a podcast. No, like they are actually getting paid by a company. It's called Earwolf. And I did some digging, I went and did some research, and they are owned by Stitcher. So they'll say in the episodes, like if you want extra bonus stuff, if you have Stitcher Premium, then you can get their candy bag episodes. It's like their bonuses, or like it goes even further, even deeper into what they're talking about. And that is because the company that they're doing it with is owned by Stitcher. So that's that's me geeking out. Like we're going really deep on all the things. But there's a New York Times article that I'm going to link to, and then Earwolf. So I'm going to let me know if y'all are interested, actually. Like reach out to me, send me an email, crystal@crystalprofit.com. Let me know if you want to know more about how the networks work, because it's something that I've dug into recently, and I'm starting to understand more what it's like to be part of a podcast network. And then if you're interested in starting your own podcast network, what that looks like, let me know, because I'd be happy to share with you the things that I've learned. But I want to tell you, since they've launched, they've consistently been in the top 10 of all podcasts. Not just the ones that their category is comedy. That's like one of the main categories that they're in. And they've peaked at like 1 or 2. I think it was number 2 is where they are in the comedy podcast. But they've consistently been in the top 10 of all of the podcasts in Apple Podcast. Not just a few, all of the podcasts since they launched. And that blows my mind because it tells me a few things. First of all, there are other crazy people just like me who are obsessed with The Office and they love it. And it's so much fun. I don't even know how many episodes. Let me see. They are on, I'm looking at my phone real fast. They've done 17 episodes so far, but listen to this, guys. So as of me recording this, they have 44,230 ratings and reviews. Holy moly. And I know that is what has helped contribute to their success and just the success of the show and all the stars that they're bringing on. Like they've had Rainn Wilson on there and they've had Greg Daniels. He's like the creator of the show. And I'm just like, I'm so blown away. I mean, is this just me? Y'all are probably just sitting there making fun of me because I'm just geeking out on all of this. But it just really blows my mind that, guys, they're getting paid to do this. A company is paying them to sit around and talk about something that they actually absolutely love. Like this is my third point. So how did they launch? We talked about them actually launching. And then like, this is the basic breakdown of what is actually happening here. So it's 2 friends that decided they wanted to do something fun. And then I don't know if the company reached out to them, if they reached out to the company. I don't really know the backstory on how everything went down. But they love this show so much. And it shows in how much they show up every single week. Like they are giddy. They sound like they are so excited to be sitting there talking about all the things, sharing all their insights, like sharing all these little details that you never would have known about this show or about them as actors and as people, as humans, like the things that they are going through while they're on the show, unless they had this podcast. And it's so cool to me. And it just reminds me that you can do this and just have fun. Like, I don't know if you listened to the episode recently I put out with me and my son, and it was a bonus episode that I did purely just for fun. It was the only reason. He got home from school one day, and he's the first one that gets off the bus. So our middle son wasn't home yet, and I just said, hey, do you want to go record a podcast episode? And he just kind of looked at me like, sure, I guess. And I just thought it was just kind of something I decided in the moment. It was not on my content calendar. I did not have that scheduled to do that. It just felt right in the moment. And it was really just about connecting. That's all this is, guys. It's about connecting. I feel more connected to them and their show and the other actors that they've had on there and the creators and the writers and just everybody because they're just sharing their story. And this show has been off the air for, I want to say, 10 years. I don't even know how long they've been off the air. I know it's been a long time, but I'm just like so blown away by how much of an impact a podcast can have. And I know that they've raised money for some of the charities that they're a part of. They're promoting their own projects and their friends' projects. And it's just such a cool platform. And I'm just so grateful to be part of it and be able to geek out on this stuff and talk to y'all about it. So that's all I have for y'all today. I just wanted to really geek out and have a reason to talk about my favorite podcast because I love lots of other podcasts, but at the end of the day, like I listen to podcasts when I work out and when I'm walking the dog or I'm driving in the car and folding laundry. There's all kinds of places where I listen to podcasts, but when I go to the gym, I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And when I go on Wednesdays, like I have a little bit more of a pep in my step because they release their episodes Tuesdays at some time, but I don't listen to them on Tuesdays. I save it for the gym on Wednesday. And I am just so giddy. I will literally laugh. I'm running on the treadmill and I'm either smiling or laughing at what these ladies are talking about or just the shenanigans that they're getting into behind the scenes. And it just makes me so happy. So I hope that you are listening to things like that and you are connecting with other podcasts that just make you happy for no other reason, not to teach you anything, not to learn anything, it's not even like really even motivational. It feeds my soul in a way that it's just, I don't know. I'm a fan of comedy and it just makes me so happy. So if you are looking for something, I encourage you to go listen to them. Even if you've never watched the show, go back and watch the show with these ladies. I'm sure you probably have a Netflix subscription. Go listen to an episode and then go listen to a podcast or go watch a show and then go listen to a podcast episode. And I promise they will crack you up every single time. But that does it for today's episode. So make sure you go check out the show notes and all the other fun things that I have at crystalprofit.com/episode 133. And remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal, it could be totally anonymous, or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message, and I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of fan mail shout outs.